Armadillos are purse dog-sized mammals closely related to anteaters and sloths. They have sharp claws for burrowing and long noses for rooting around for food. They're known diggers like gophers, moles, and woodchucks. They don't see very well, so they rely heavily on their sense of smell for finding larvae and insects. Although they'll devour your root vegetable garden too if given a chance. They're not super picky. Armadillo, which comes from the Spanish word meaning little armored ones, are just as adorable as they are annoying, which is to say a lot. Sadly, armadillos are primarily sadly pr sadly, armadillos are primarily known for two things, neither of which are particularly exciting. One, they're pretty common roadkill, and two, they're an unofficial symbol for the state of Texas. Now, I grew up in Texas and have seen my fair share of armadillos. I was always honored to get to see these very unique creatures. The world is filled with animals so magical looking that they shouldn't be real, and I never wanted to take for granted the opportunity I had to regularly see an armadillo. Like, I've never once seen a porcupine or a narwhal or a kiwi. There's no way these things are real, right? The first time I ever went to Australia, I was transfixed by how common kangaroos and wallabies were. Like, we live in a magical world of mystical creatures. Even though I know animals like kangaroos or badgers or armadillos or parakeets might seem uncommon based on where you live, somewhere they're just a nuisance or roadkill. I should mention a couple more things about armadillos first. Because they're known burrowers, they've developed a reputation for being around cemeteries. I mean, what better place to find larvae and live undisturbed by living people? And second, they are only they only live in South America, Central America, and the American Southwest. They are not, I repeat, armadillos do not live in Romania. Never have. So imagine my surprise in the opening sequence of the OG Dracula film from 1931 when we see armadillos just rooting around in that castle basement alongside the coffins of Dracula and his undead wives. I mean, he's a count after all, so he could probably have afforded just to get those cute little fuckers imported. Hi, Cecil.
Hi, Jeffrey.
What's the cutest wild animal?
I mean, that time that I went to Rot's Nest Island and hung out with the quokkas, that was pretty cute.
Quokkas are real cute.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like 105 degrees in the shade, but when I
Hmm.
finally found those little fuckers, they were pretty darn adorable.
Yeah. I remember seeing a koala in the wild in Australia. There's a stretch of road you can go down where there's still like a koala preserve. It's not a ticketed thing. You can just get off the highway and kind of look
Oh,
around. There's signs like don't feed them, don't mess with them.
they're like,
But you have
they just hang out here.
but you have to look real high up in the tree and they just kind of cling to the tree and sleep. So I was kind of underwhelmed by
All
the
that
by the
chlamydia.
koala. But man, a pangolin would love to see a
Oh,
pangolin,
yeah,
pangolin,
yeah, yeah,
pangolin,
yeah.
which
They're
is
the ones that curl up into a ball,
very
right?
similar
And
to the
wait till they feel
armadillo. Yeah.
threatened. Yeah.
Those are cute. And sugar gliders as well. Like
Oh,
just
sure. And
big-eyed
I
anime
mean, we're
looking
all just
bullshit.
essentially we're describing like the same animal, just different variations,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
big eyes,
Uh-huh.
small mammal, or, marsupial,
Right.
adorable to hold.
Speaking of adorable, Cecil, I once again failed to get us a guest. To make up for this oversight, I found us an actor, an aerialist, an influencer, a dear friend, and our resident vampire expert. I found us a Symphony Sanders. Hello, Symphony.
What's up, you creeps?
Symphony, what's the cutest wild animal?
Oh, wow. Well, I had the privilege of last Christmas going to Costa Rica and I saw wild sloths
Oh,
in the trees, and it was a mama and a baby. And when I tell you, I wept
Mm.
at the sheer adorableness of it. My heart grew 10 sizes that day.
no, wait,
Wow.
sloths are kind of big, right? Like they're,
No, they're not
oh,
that
really?
big.
They're
I
just
always
They
thought of
just
long
them as
look,
boys.
kind of
they're
large.
long. They're because of their
Okay.
arms and their legs are longer than their actual body.
Well, then how big is a baby?
The bait, it's so small. It was
What?
like, it was like maybe like 8 inches.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow.
Like the body is like really small. And the mom was like maybe like a foot. And
Oh.
a foot and a quarter, like her bot, like from the rooter to the tutor.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
But the
But then the
arms, that's
arms are
what's
like,
long.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, the
Uh-huh.
arms are long. So if you stretch them out, of course, that would be like seem like bigger. But truthfully, they're like actually pretty small and they're so cute and slow.
Man.
Did they
Yeah.
move at all? Did you see them move, or
Yeah,
were they
yeah,
just
yeah. Oh my
okay?
God, I'm gonna send you this video that we got through the telescope that because we were on the ground and it was like up in the tree. And they were like, oh my gosh, this never happens. They're usually like very docile during the day and like whatever. But it had been raining and like whatever. And the baby like reached out for a branch to try and do some independence, and the mom was like supporting it, and then like made it like couldn't figure out how to like really hold on. So the mom like helped it back onto her like belly
Oh,
where it just like rested. It was, I'm like still overcome with like emotion every time I think about it. I'm gonna
wow.
send you this video and you're gonna be like, he's so cute.
Wow. I mean, I respect any animal that is so lazy that moss grows on it.
Mhm.
Literally, it's like the algae and all that stuff.
Well, we get some pretty cute animals in this movie because we get
Yeah.
bats. I love
Ba-
bats.
Bats, I
I
love
love
bats are
bats.
great. I have bats
Oh
that
yeah,
live like in the little
freaking
forest
bats.
Freaking
outside my house.
bats.
Like it's
We
great if you go out at the right time of night. It's like bat hour, that
I,
sunset hour.
I also like plastic spiders. Plastic
Amazing.
spiders, amazing.
Yeah, who knew that the creatures of the night were North American possums and armadillos?
Yeah, and that one beetle that had its own coffin.
Yes, it's a vampire beetle. It's very cute.
The creatures of the night, what music they make.
I
They were
kind
like,
of
let's just collect animals.
I had to go look this up because I was so curious about why the armadillos were at the beginning of this movie, and I thought there was some inside joke because they don't, this is an hour and 15-minute movie. It's very
Yeah,
short,
Hmm.
and it is so you've got to truncate that very long, 400-page novel down to, 75 minutes. So they've obviously cut a whole lot from it, and one of the big characters in the book that they cut is the Texan.
yeah.
So
Oh,
the Texan is not in this movie, but he's in the book. So I was like, is this like just kind of a funny nod to the fact that they cut the Texan out of the original novel? I wasn't sure what they were
so they're
doing,
just,
but they just
mhm.
didn't know that
Yeah.
that armadillos didn't live anywhere outside of they just thought they lived in Southern California and also in
Yeah,
Romania.
they're like armadillos, the spookiest of the animals.
I wonder sometimes if it's just the foreignness of like that animal that like it just looks so weird that it's somehow spooky.
Yeah.
Maybe. I
Like
just
the
yeah.
possum. The possum is what got me.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
like,
I
we're gonna
saw
put
the
this
possum and I was like,
rat-faced possum here in Dracula's castle.
It does set up the expectations I had for this movie though, because as I watched this film, I kept thinking, wow, they could never make this movie today. And it's not because it's like objectionable in its messaging or anything like that. It's because it's the OG Dracula. I mean, this is the first Dracula film in the English language. We've had Nosferatu, which
Sure.
was a workaround. Like they
Yeah.
didn't pay for the
Yeah.
rights to Bram Stoker's novel,
right.
whereas this did, and this played more of the gothic sort of element of Transylvania, of Dracula. It was less about the horror and more about the spookiness. And it set the tone for all of the monster movies to follow and all of our Halloween decorations for the next century.
Hmm.
Oh,
It
so
set the
true.
tone for everything. And so you watch this movie, it's so difficult. It's like trying to watch Scent of a Woman and seeing Al Pacino actually do his hooah sort of bit.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, you're just doing the impression we have of you, but it comes from that movie.
Right.
And there's like a simplicity to just we're just slapping shit together because it's 1931 Hollywood. Who even knows?
And honestly, most people that were probably going to see this movie were paying what, like a nickel, a
Oh,
penny
yeah.
to go see this movie. And may have never even left their city or their state, right? So all these like wild creatures, maybe, or maybe that's like, even if they did
Yeah.
recognize that there was armadillos, maybe they didn't know, they wouldn't know that an armadillo doesn't belong there or in Transylvania, or who knows what is in Transylvania, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
they didn't have Google,
No.
right?
You know.
You had the Encyclopedia Britannica,
Hmm.
if you
Yeah.
were lucky.
If you were lucky, if you were lucky in 1930. And this also was on the heels of like the Depression came, right?
Oh yeah.
This was at
At
the
this point.
start of start of the Dirty
Yeah,
Right.
I read that they were actually going to make this, like they were going to use the book as their basis. And then the Depression hit and they were like, "Oh, we can't tackle this whole, novel." So they were like, "What if we just did the Broadway version, the play version, which sort of
Mm.
truncates everything and turns it more into the sensual romance of Dracula."
Hmm.
And they went with that.
Yeah.
Well, and I do love, like you, to your point, Jeffrey, about like how this is the reference for all the things that we associate with Dracula. I mean, even look at Count Chocula, the
Uh-huh.
count in friggin' Sesame Street, all the
Yeah.
I want to suck your blood. That is that. That
Yeah.
is that. So that is where we get that. I was also like, I thought it was interesting the amount of the type of lore that they use, because wolfsbane is
Oh
usually
yeah.
for like werewolves, right?
Yeah.
And
This
like sometimes it's witchcraft, but like I was like, huh,
Well, they definitely suggest that vampires and werewolves are kind of one and the same in
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
which would explain why a lot of times when I'm like, how do werewolf work? Because a lot of times the werewolf movies we've seen tend to be very similar to the vampire movies we see, except
Hmm.
just in place of we come out at night, we come out at full moon. In place of stake to the heart, silver bullets, or whatever.
Yeah.
I do feel like werewolves have like more of a trope of being like they're cursed, right? Like
Uh-huh.
some of the like only a couple, like the Bram Stoker's Dracula, the John Carpenter one. Is that John
Oh
Carpenter?
no, Francis Ford Coppola.
Francis, yeah, yeah.
Francis, thank you. That one, they kind of used it as he was cursed with immortal life sort of thing into vampirism. And like sometimes you'll see it like Interview with the Vampire, like, but like we also don't get this vampire Dracula, the original vampire, his backstory
Yeah.
at
Mhm.
all.
Oh yeah.
It's
No,
just
in
he
this
has
version, it's just
existed.
like he's just some dude hanging out in his dusty old castle, luring hot young men to his castle, being like, "Shh, don't tell anybody."
Also, you had mentioned about this, you didn't think that this is a scary movie, because I mean, it fully isn't, I don't think. I just wanted to make note that this was rated PG-13, and the notations on it were violence and smoking. Those were the two,
Oh my.
It will
violence
always
and smoking.
it will always note smoking and yeah, well, like what we it's so funny, like doing the content warnings for these episodes, like what I
Hmm.
think we should prepare people for is so different than what like Hollywood is thinking we should prepare, I guess, children for. Yeah, Symphony got
Yeah.
the thumbs up on her Zoom screen. Let's see if I can put that right back at her.
Pretty great.
Boom.
Pretty good.
Nope. That didn't do
You
it.
know what I loved? This actually, one of the things that this movie gave me, because it's been a while since we've watched anything as old as the 1930s, which is the
Yeah.
classic, like when the heroine, like legit just touches her fingernails to her
Yes.
forehead and then
Uh-huh.
faints backwards, like
She was like,
unironically. Oh, oh,
and
oh.
she came out and she's like, oh, I don't know. I was like, dang, this was like literally I mean, just I was studying like the style of the acting that was
Yeah,
just wild to me,
yeah,
like all throughout and that made it difficult at times, because I'm like, the story. So
of
it's
course.
like you're watching for these little nuances or whatever, and it's just that style of acting. How do you do? How, how do you do?
How do you do? No, they're definitely playing to
How
the
do
back of
you
the house.
do?
I
Hmm.
think, well, like,
Hmm.
Count Dracula, Bela Lugosi,
Yeah.
Van Helsing, and Dr. Seward were all in the Broadway production. They were
Ah,
all holdovers
Hmm.
from that Broadway production. And I imagine all the young folk, the young, handsome, gorgeous creatures were all kind of universals, like, oh, we're going to plug in our young, beautiful people. But it
Yeah.
was
the
very John,
armadillos.
John, Marsha.
Uh,
My
Him and
favorite
his short
game,
pants, girl.
oh my gosh. My favorite game to play when watching black and white movies like this is to be like, what color do you think that dress is? What color
mm,
do you think that
Oh,
like is to like what color do you think that room is painted?
oh yeah,
that's
okay.
interesting.
It's
That's
just like
very
a weird little
interesting.
fun game I play. Like Lucy, oh, her bedroom was like fuchsia up and down.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a mauve girl for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like all of the sitting rooms for like Mina and Jonathan Harker and things like that whole setup, that's all Gilded Age shit. Like that's
Yeah.
gold and
Hmm.
ivory and things like marble, gold, ivory.
Yeah.
Maybe like a burgundy rug or something, but
Yeah.
elegant, not
Dark and
red.
rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then when first Lucy goes to bed, I noticed her bedspread. It's about textures for me.
Yeah, because then it's
Like,
so
because that's
shiny.
what stands out, right? Like they were all like all the girls were wearing like the fancy girls were all wearing like not chiffon, but like a sateen sort of like texture of dress. And even the bedspread. And they must have been like silk or satin or something because they bounced light like crazy. And I was just like, oh, that's so interesting. I mean, part of it is to show the luxness, I think, of their living conditions and like who they like societally, who they are versus like the dullness of like the uniforms for the sanitarium.
Oh yeah,
Of
yeah, good point.
like the very
Yeah.
milkman-esque sort of like sanitarium
You
whites.
mean the Cockney
Crazy! You're crazy.
the
Well,
comedy?
from Martin, the Cockney attendant of the
Oh my
sanitarium.
God.
Martin, what is it you say you do around here? Because that man keeps escaping.
Oh my goodness.
Literally. How does he keep getting in
Ev
their house?
every night. Every night.
Yeah.
Well, let's start at the beginning with a group of American tourists on the way up into the hills, mountains of Romania. And one of these people on this horse and carriage is our man Renfield.
Yeah.
I really like this
Um,
guy, Dwight Fry, I think is his name.
I liked one, I was like, Renfield, you're kind of cute. Even
Hmm.
yeah.
before you went crazy and after you went crazy, you're still kind of cute. You're eating flies, being all jiggity and like jumpy, would still smash.
It looked
He's
like he had really good eyes.
Yeah.
mhm.
Like probably like bright blue.
He had a nice butt. Really, that was it.
Oh, he was a
he
tight little figure.
he's the scariest part of the movie to me, I think. Like he
I
has
think
the
Yeah.
that was
scariest scenes.
yeah.
And it's in his face. Like it makes me think of when a lot of like 90s and more contemporary Japanese films really play off of the ghost. Well, even older Japanese films too. The
Yeah.
creepy face, though the face that won't stop staring at you.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
when they first see him after he's gone mad under the Vesta or whatever the ship is, when they
In the
open up
boat.
yeah, when
Yeah.
they open up the floorboard and see him
Yeah, that
looking
scene
up
is
them
pretty
up at
shocking.
them. Yeah, it's
His
really
eyes are
spooky.
so wide. Yeah, well, and I think that was like also some of the best use of light for him. Like I think because his eyes were so like the tone of them were so white that when they put that kind of like mirror bounce like light on his eyes, it
Mhm.
just like beamed a
Yeah.
little bit, you know,
Yeah.
it was like very intense. But yeah, he was very spooky and he started out, in the town, like
Oh, you
he
start
was just
and
like,
it's
slow down,
yeah.
mister. And like,
To me, it was the change from him just being like, here I am going to I'm just doing my business to where he ended up, I think was the
yeah,
most interesting.
Hmm.
yeah, he had the biggest journey, like as a character for anyone throughout
Yes,
the episode movie,
for
girl.
sure. So
I mean, because it was like an hour long. It was so
Yeah.
short.
it
It's
was
the
really.
episode where Buffy meets Dracula, you know?
Hmm.
So he tells the village that they arrive into, he's like, well, actually leave my stuff on the carriage because I'm supposed to go up to Borgo Pass tonight. And they're like, my dude, it is Walpurgis night. That
Hmm.
is the night of evil. That
Oh
like the
no.
women are like praying and doing crosses. They hand him like a rosary to be like, this will protect you.
Just, for your mother's sake.
I love that
And
line. This is for your mother's sake.
He's like, ah ha ha, thank you.
yeah, he
Back
was
back on the carriage I go. Ha ha.
also, I'm sorry to meet a midnight carriage. Use your noggin there, bud.
Yeah.
Use your noggin. First of all, maybe you don't know the landscape of Transylvania or Romania at all, but I would assume at this time, especially you're going on a carriage, that these are going to be some bumpy ass roads. You've already experienced some bumpy ass roads. You want to be doing that at night, you could be bounced off down a mountain pass. I
Yeah.
just think it's not smart. And when the whole village, which of course you could be like, maybe they're just superstitious people, but 1+1, my brother, my dude.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 1+1. And then the third one is your carriage driver is like, I'm getting the
No,
fuck out of here. It's like, I don't even
yeah.
want to do this. And then immediately just like turns around and leaves you there.
I love that he peels
He
out on a
I know,
carriage.
he chucks the bag off. He throws it on the ground, bitch. He doesn't even get down or hand it to the man. He throws that shit on the
Like in
ground
a
and it's like,
cloud of dust is out of there.
he's like, I am out of here.
Five
And
stars.
old Crazy Eyes is like waiting for him.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
Amazing. The best.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got another carriage he's supposed to meet that will take him up to Count Dracula's castle.
Mhm.
And it
Count
is
Dracula, are you my Uber?
that's it, Count Dracula? Did I pronounce that right? Dracula? So this is very clearly Dracula who is pretending to be the carriage driver, telling, quietly pointing to the carriage for him to get in. And as they go up the mountain towards it, he's like, "You there, driver, slow down." He peeks his head around, and there is just a bat hovering over the
Bat?
Yeah.
horses. No driver.
So for me, besides trying to guess what colors things are, is every time I saw that goddamn bat, I had to say bat, like Matt Berry
Like Laszlo.
in,
But
in What We Do in the Shadows. Bat? Like every time.
That's a lot of
uh,
bat.
Because it to
so
know,
many
and I mean,
times.
especially later in the movie where they're just like swatting the bat away. The bat's inside, the bat's in the hair in their hair.
And the bat can go anywhere the bat wants. The bat has no, like,
Yeah.
I need you to open the door for me, to open the
Yeah.
window for me. He just busts in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
The
vampire
window's
like,
open, he's coming in.
yeah, no invitation necessary.
No,
Also no vampire teeth for Count Dracula, I noticed.
Yes.
no. They just they just got like it was like the most transitiony of things. It's just like indicating that this is what's
Yes.
happening,
Yeah.
indicating that this is what's happening. He didn't even get that close, like where like they could like cheat the picture. You know what I mean? Like she could like lean her head where it would look like he was actually sucking on her neck. That he didn't even get that close. He would just be like have that grizzled
Oh
hand.
my God, the finger acting was strong though.
Oh my
Yes.
God, it was so good. That and then the like crumpled hand, and then his mouth position was killing me. It was just like he was pulling back his upper lip over his teeth when he was like, it looked like he had dentures. Like he took his dentures out.
Do you know
Yeah.
what it looked like? It looked like he was taking a shit. Honestly, every time they cut away to Count Dracula, it looks like he was having a hard time. Like it looked like he went to Red Lobster and it was later that night and he was trying to like expel some of those cheddar biscuits.
Not Red Lobster, bitch. I will not have you besmirch the amazing Cheddar Bay biscuit.
Listen,
No,
It is
Cheddar Bay
that's some
biscuits
Red
are
one of the-
Robin
delicious,
bullshit right
but
there. Yeah.
that's going to come out
Yeah.
sideways. It's going to be like shitting a brick sideways later that evening.
That's true. It's a
And
lot.
Count-
It's a lot of garlic butter.
I mean, it's like you could spackle a fucking wall with that. And Count Dracula knows for sure.
This movie uses so many beats of his face, like just the close
Yeah.
up. And I really love that because I was imagining that they just brought Bela Lugosi in for an afternoon. And we're like, okay, let's get all
right.
these reaction shots. And they just did them
Yeah.
all in a day. So it's a lot of him going, or ha. And it's just, okay, let's do 5 more has, and then we'll get to the ungs. And then that's
Hey.
And all of
I'm
them
here for the face acting.
and all of them look like he's shitting.
all
Yeah.
of them look like he's shitting.
I imagine it does take a bit of concentration, though, Cecil. So maybe that's why he was like,
Focus.
concentrate,
Uh-huh.
intense,
Focus.
intensity. And the director's just going, intensity, intensity,
Yeah.
intensity. But I always was like, okay, I would have liked some sort of difference between when he was just like mesmerizing someone and like, or like, I want to hear the voice of like, what is he saying to them? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they would be like, yes, master, and you're like, but what is he saying to you?
Yeah, because sometimes he's very clearly communicating, I want you to do the following things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes he is just upset. And then, like, the first time he does it, it's just when he gets Renfield over there. Renfield is just a realtor. And he
Yeah.
gets Renfield in there. He's like, I would like to discuss the lease on Carfax Abbey. And then it's just evil eye. Like
Yeah.
that reaction. I'm like, oh, you just made a business statement. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, okay. I'm imagining being Renfield and being like, okay. Yeah, we can absolutely. It's just a realtor person being like, sure, just sign here. We
Yeah.
took care of it. Are
I'd be
you
like,
okay?
can we do that in the
Like, why
morning?
Are you
okay?
all right?
1
Do you
a.m.
want to sit down or something? Yeah. Have
You look like you have to shit.
Are you all right? Do you need some
you need
Imodium
to-
or
Where's my room also? What's the coffee situation
we're
in the
my
mornings?
room. We're
Babe,
in my room
you're
right
in
now.
it. You're in it. He's over, like walking over by your bed. Like, for
Yeah.
what, bro? And I'm supposed to eat in here? No. Oh, the rest of the house is derelict.
Is
But
literal cobwebs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he had to fight his way through the cobwebs.
It's so
That
Like-
gross.
was
Swords, using his umbrella as a sword to get upstairs. And he's like, oh, charming. And then he's like, here's the plate of food. Also, drink this old ass wine. Dusty.
you're not
Ass
even
wine.
gonna decant that shit for me?
No, that needs
Right.
to be aired out. my friend.
Undecanted.
And he's not gonna drink with you. Sus immediately.
Mhm.
I
did
never
like-
drink wine.
I
know.
There's some really funny lines in this movie that
Yeah.
it's like sometimes some of it's about the juxtaposition, and one of them is at the beginning is as he goes through that spider web to get up to his room. The Dracula then says to him, he was like, "Oh, you do not like the spider. Like he spins his web for the unwary fly. The blood is the life." And it's so dramatic. And Renfield looks over and sees that there's a fire going. He goes, "Oh, look at that fire. It's so cheerful." It's really funny. He's so wholesome when we first meet him.
Like, I mean, what are you supposed to say to that?
Uh-huh.
And you're like, okay. Again, you're holding the lease and you're like, oh,
okay.
okay.
It's also
Sure,
when
the
Dracula's
blood.
like, and you're sure you told no one that you were coming. And Renfield's like, no, didn't tell anybody. I'm like, except for like literally everyone
The
in the
whole
village.
village.
Uh-huh.
Also, what difference would it make if he had told somebody? Because they were leaving like literally the next day.
Yeah.
I think Dracula meant like nobody in London. That's what I think he meant. Like Dracula wants his arrival in London to be a secret or something.
I see. Okay,
Sure.
okay.
But I just thought that was funny.
So we later that night, before they go to bed, like Renfield cuts his finger on the
Oh.
newspaper
Right.
or on the
Classic.
lease, and Dracula's like, "Oh, that looks so tasty good."
I just wrote in all caps, the blood.
Reaction shot.
It's
Yeah.
not phallic at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all phallic.
And later
Now,
that
I
night,
will say this.
Yeah.
Oh no, no. This I love Dracula's wives in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so
He abandoned them
sexy.
bitches.
Yeah, they
He
we
did.
don't
He
get
did.
much of them.
Mhm.
We
Did
don't get
leave them
much of them at
Yeah.
behind.
all,
We didn't
sadly.
get much of them, but they were
No.
they. I like their little
I would have
flowy
loved to
dresses.
yeah, I would have loved to see more of that. Like or like something with that. Because like we saw them come out of the coffins
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then they when after he passed out, like
Yeah, Renfield
literally
sees the bat, passes out.
yeah.
right, but the bitches like were right behind him basically like
Mhm.
before that, and
Yeah.
he didn't see them, and they were like and they were trying to sneak
Yeah.
in
It's
dramatic
it's choreographed. Like it's a
dresses.
really cool like
Mhm.
modern dance thing that they're doing up toward him before Dracula's like, "No, no, no, this is mine."
Well, somebody has to stay behind and take care of the possums and armadillos.
Armadillos.
You're right, Cecil. What was I thinking?
Somebody's got to feed the armadillos.
Hmm.
That's a wife's duty.
He had also told Renfield that he had already chartered a ship to go to England. We're on our way
Hmm.
first thing in the morning. He's like, I'm only taking a few, like 3 boxes of stuff.
I know.
Wink.
But aboard the Vesta to England during a big storm, and below deck, we have Renfield, who is now in full Renfield mode. Like
Yeah.
he's gone full Igor here, like, Master, the sun is gone. And you can come out now. Please see to it that I don't have to have the human lives you get, but small lives. I've been loyal, Master, for all of this blood you promised me. Like, oh, my dude, you need to unionize.
Right. Stand up,
I
girl.
I still think that Renfield is one of the most intriguing characters in like European literature.
Hmm.
Like I think like it's in What We Do in the Shadows, in like the Nicolas Cage movie Renfield. I think it's like one of the most interesting, this person that is like the movie Fright Night, the human that is
Hmm.
tied to the vampire, that is willing, that knows what the fuck the vampire is,
Right.
that is kind of like either immortality is like taunted in front of them, be like, oh, I'll make you a vampire like tomorrow, and they never quite get to it, or they have some other weird sort of fixation. I don't know. I'm fascinated by the Renfield character.
I mean, I get that. It is like that is hand in hand with the lore of the vampire is that there is like some daytime helper or some like and it's never clear like what exactly has been done to them to make them
Hmm.
loyal to them but it's not just on their own volition, right? Except for like in What We Do in the Shadows, Guillermo just wants to be a
He just,
vampire
yeah,
and he's been promised, right? But it's all very lighthearted. But all the other Renfields, it's much more like they are devoted to their
yeah.
master in this way, where they'll go and procure human lives or make sure that their daily duties are done so that when their master awakens, they can be there. But at what at what behest? Like, why did they do that? I don't think we'll ever truly know, you know?
It feels like it definitely feels like the thing where you know that person is really your only way forward, I think.
Mm,
You know that now you're in their world, and so they're
Oh
your
yeah.
really your only guide, and unless you're a full-blown vampire, you can't really get out on your own, which is why they have to withhold the full powers from them, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because otherwise it's yeah, I don't, I need you under contract while you're still in
right.
development,
Right. Well, and even, in this version we see with Renfield, like he knows that he has helped Dracula kill innocent people.
Right.
So he knows his soul is going to hell, you know. So like he feels guilty about the people that he's helped Dracula kill. So he
Hmm.
doesn't want to
Hmm.
die, but he's still helping the vampire because I don't know, he gets thousands and thousands of rats is the
And
payoff.
bugs.
Yeah.
Right.
Rats and bugs.
That doesn't seem to me like a fair trade.
No.
I I mean, if you want to be underpaid and undervalued, that's on you, but not this girl. You know, it just doesn't seem like there's a benefit to it. I mean, maybe if they're like, you serve me for 5 years, I'll make you into a vampire, then you'll have eternal life sort of situation. That would be like maybe worth it.
Yeah,
But
like a true
like,
apprenticeship sort of situation.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Rats and bugs.
Well, and
right. And
if all
you're
you're
like, I'll
getting is
find my
rats,
replacement.
you're moving to London, my dude.
I know.
So
Rats and
like you're
bugs
gonna
aplenty.
find them. You will be able to get
Right.
that shit on your own.
Rats a poppin'.
Well, this ship arrives in London and the whole crew is dead.
Right.
Everybody is dead except for, well, they don't know about Dracula, but they know about Renfield. But the whole crew is dead. There's not really anything made out of this police investigation of like, why is the whole crew dead? Why is all their blood
Nope.
gone? Why was the captain tied to the steering wheel? Maybe that was from the storm. Who even knows? But everybody's fucking dead.
We're just going to ship this guy right off to Dr. Seward's home for the mentally insane.
Yeah. Where they have top-notch security.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. He's crazy.
Okay, so
With
we've made
Eliza
it.
Doolittle's father is his caretaker.
That accent was wild, wild. White knuckle ride through that Cockney accent that man
Oh
has.
my God.
Okay,
It
so
was literally all over the place.
yeah. So it was somehow Dracula pulled the strings to get him into Dr. Seward's sanatorium because the thing is, Dr. Seward's sanatorium is right next to Carfax Abbey, which I was still tickled by Carfax because I'm like, show me the Carfax. So he can be close to there. This is the new property he has in London. He's going to build up these whatever. He's not going to build up shit. He's not doing a home flip. He just needs a place to put his Transylvanian dirt and his coffin in the basement, and that's it.
This is mind blowing to me. He has 3 boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and
He
he
could have brought
buys
so much.
an entire abbey
Hmm.
in literally next to like a sanatorium, some rich people's houses. You picked like the most conspicuous hiding place in like
Yes.
all of London. You didn't think, I don't know, like some docks on the River Thames where you could put your 3 boxes and come and go. No, that wouldn't. No.
Mm-mm.
No.
No. South London,
Also,
real estate's a lot cheaper out there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Where you could just be like killing Southsiders just left, right, and like the poor flower girl, who, by the way, her name is Bunny Beatty, which I think is like the
Mhm.
actual actor's name. I was like, hey, Bunny.
That's
But
cute.
yeah, very
well,
Dracula. What are you doing?
Yes.
he needed, it's about location, Cecil. He needed to be nearby where his little Renfield was going to be. Also, he needed to be walking distance to the downtown area.
That's
Uh-huh.
it. Because he really
So-
likes the symphony. He likes
Yeah.
the
He really
symphony
likes it.
orchestra.
How else was he going to just run into Dr. Seward,
Sure.
Yeah.
right? In the box.
Yeah, he's got to go hunting for people to eat and marry.
He's like, I
Basically.
love a West End show.
Uh-huh. Oh, look, the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is playing. I should see
Oh.
both of these. Oh, Back to the Future, the musical?
Oh,
I didn't realize they had
amazing.
made that. How exciting. Yeah, so one of the first things he does is he bites this flower girl. Flower for
Mhm.
your buttonhole, sir.
Oh,
For your what hole?
For your buttonhole.
for your
Button.
butthole. Oh,
Button.
button. Oh, okay.
And he-
I liked her scream. It was like,
Now, I will say this, so we got to this movie through vampire and period piece. I think we might have failed on the
Okay.
period piece here, guys.
No, because this takes place
No?
this is a 1931 film that takes place in like 1895.
Oh, okay.
It takes because the book
Is
it takes place when the book takes
It's more
place.
Victorian. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 1897.
Because I was looking
whenever.
at some of the because I was wondering about that. Like I was looking at some of the because Dracula top hat and tails the entire flipping time.
Yeah.
right.
The like Mina and Lucy, they kind of looked like flappers.
They do.
And then like I was looking at some of the other costumes, I was like, man, they just look like 1930s depression. I was like, uh-oh.
I think this was just shorthand bullshit. Like, I don't think they ever suggest. I think it's like the
Yeah.
armadillos. I think they just
Okay.
put people in stuff that feels
Older.
1890s, but absolutely
Yeah.
looks 1930.
Yeah. But if you think about like when they were examining Lucy in that like doctor's like theater thing, they didn't have that in the 1930s. That was already
Oh,
done.
sure.
Like, so that was like back in like the
Okay.
1800s.
Okay.
The
I
operating
see.
Yeah.
theater. I did
Mhm.
clock that the usher at the theater when he comes in checks his ticket
With the
stub with a
flashlight.
flashlight, and I had to
Oh,
look that
yeah.
up. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, we hadn't invented that shit yet." That was
She's
like,
like Betty
No,
Boop.
no,
She's
no,
like
no.
full Betty Boop, like
yeah.
cigars, cigarettes, cigars.
She did get mesmerized by him though.
She
Like
did.
to tell Dr. Seward that he had a message or
Yeah,
he had to go or whatever.
yeah. So Dracula comes up to the box suite and introduces himself to Dr. Seward.
Mhm.
Tells him, "Oh, I just overheard your name, and it just so happens you're the name of my neighbor. I just purchased Carfax Abbey." And then this is where he meets Jonathan Harker and his fiancee Mina, and
Mhm.
Mina's friend Lucy.
Mhm.
And he immediately loves Lucy because Lucy's goth. I mean, she may be a
Yeah.
blondie.
She's goth as fuck.
She was like, death. Yeah.
Let's toast to all the dead people that hang out in the walls and the ceiling that can't drink. So let's drink one to them. And then let's listen to some Bauhaus.
And Dracula was like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Dracula's last thing he says to them before wandering off is, "There are far worse things awaiting man than death." And immediately Lucy's like, "Oh, I love him."
Yeah.
We're gonna kick it.
I liked that got brought up in their little girl talk, like after the, just right
I
after this
know.
scene.
Mhm.
And she's like, and Mina was like, ooh, death.
You're
You and
gonna
your
be
count.
Countess Lucy. Oh,
Right.
you're gonna
And
go
Lucy
to
was like,
Hungary.
Lucy was like, maybe I will. I think he's so cool. And Mina's like, whatever. You should have a normal guy like my boyfriend with the short pants.
Yep.
Oh, John Harker, like the most boring human being on the face of the
Yes.
earth.
Literally.
Yes.
Literally. I was like, oh, you're a drip. Like
Mhm.
immediately.
He's
Like
an
you're
absolute
zero
drip.
fun. And if you call that girl's name one, like throughout I was just
Mina,
like, shut up.
Mina.
I had my fist up. I was like, shut up, idiot.
Respect to Professor Van Helsing for not just whipping his ass right
Yeah,
there
I
in the
know, right?
cemetery.
For real.
Fucking
I would have been
A.
like, Mina, Mina, Mina. That's what you sound like.
Well, that night, Bat flies into Lucy's room through the open
Bat?
window. Bat! And Dracula shows up and leans down to bite her. And the next day, we are in an operating theater and we are already putting the sheet over Lucy's face, being like, died from an unnatural loss of blood.
So dead.
She did.
Just like the flower girl, 2 little dots, 2 little marks on her neck. What happened? So,
And I love that there's nothing we could have done. Oh, well, no more study necessary.
They did try and give her some transfusion though, which I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But that didn't work, obviously.
No.
So
now
Only
we meet
prolonged the pain.
Now we meet Professor Van Helsing.
Now this, I gotta say, in all the iterations of Professor Van Helsing, this one's pretty good.
He's really
yeah,
good.
he's great.
It's a pretty good one, I gotta say. Like he's a good mix of like a little bit kooky. So you kind of are like, I can understand why, the Dr. Sewards and the Jonathan Harkers would be like, okay, you're a little bit, I don't know if I should trust you. But you can also see why Count Dracula would be like enemy.
Yes.
Like he means business.
This actor carries the ability, like he I want to hear what he has to say. Like he doesn't seem kooky. His ideas might be kooky, but
Yeah.
he's like a real leader of ideas. Like
Yeah.
the way he
Yeah.
presents them. He's like, I understand this is odd, but this is also what we do in science. This is how it goes. He's never quite off kilter. He just never quite seems to be rattled or
Yeah.
afraid or thrown off. He's very well prepared for everything. Like I'll follow this man into battle. He seems to know what he's doing.
Yeah. And I think if they had listened to him from the beginning, they could have, defeated him.
Yeah,
I mean, Lucy was already dead, obviously, and so was that whatever girl. But we wouldn't have, I mean, that movie would have been 40 minutes instead of
right.
65. But yeah, no, he seemed very like with it. And Van Helsing I feel like throughout the movies that I've seen and the lore that I understand about Van Helsing, a lot of people make him to be more of like a bounty hunter
Oh,
style
yeah. Yeah.
guy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like he's out there just hunting vampires. Like that's what he does, And so he has been depicted as either being like kind of like hot and rugged sort of thing. Um,
The Hugh
but
Jackman Van Helsing. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but I like this more professorial,
Hmm.
like, you know, uh, really like kind of smart, book learning doctor guy, you know?
This fits really well with the characterization of him in the novel.
Mm,
He's like I remember the first time I read the novel being like, "Oh, nerd." Like I was
Okay. Okay.
because
yeah,
I had only ever seen the depiction of Van Helsing as vampire hunter.
Yeah.
And
right.
yeah. Yeah,
But
no, he's a
but he
book learned
understands the
man.
lore. Yeah, but I think that's great, like that he can mix the modern like medicine sort of know-how with this almost like superstitious village lore sort of thing and be like, no, and I don't even know if he's even seen this sort of thing before,
Mhm.
Mm.
you know, or if he's just like, I've seen this in my studies, you know?
I get his whole thing is like listen to the grandmothers and the wives' tales because
Mm,
like don't dismiss everything you hear because
right,
sometimes science can prove some of the things that they say.
Yeah.
Not everything,
totally.
but don't just say, oh, old wives' tales, fairy tales, folklore.
Well, he is studying Renfield here at Seward Sanatorium, because he's figuring out this thing with his blood. Like there's the study of the blood. He's like, I think we're dealing with a real Nosferatu here, a real undead, a vampire. And so they bring Renfield up, and Renfield is like, hey, you got to get me out of here. They're like, why? I'm like, why would anyone in a medical prison want to get out of there? But sure. But he also says, like, I hear like the cries at night, the wolves howling outside and the sounds. I feel like these cries at night will disturb Mina. They might give her bad dreams. Like he's still speaking in kind of metaphor. So like Renfield
Mhm.
is trying to straddle both sides, right? Like he wants to protect Mina and the town
But
from Dracula, but also he bows
but
to his
also like
will.
how does he know Mina?
Right? Like, has the
I
doctor
was like, when
talked
he
about
started
his,
talking, I was like, how the fuck do you know Mina? Like, because
mm,
you're talking about her like you're in love with her and you're trying to protect her.
Hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Like,
that's
wouldn't
true.
that be more concerning to Dr. Seward that you're like, you keep my daughter's name out of your crazy bug eating mouth
Yeah.
would be more concerning to me,
Let's go, bug eater.
you know? Like,
Yeah.
you should be back in your cell. Where's,
Where's
Eliza
Martin?
Doolittle's dad to like
Yeah.
take you back over there,
Oh shit.
But he warns Dr. Seward. He's like, if you don't send me away from here, you will be responsible for what happens to Mina. And Seward tells Van Helsing, he's like, by the way, I'm sorry, Martin is who tells Van Helsing. He was like, by the way, Renfield thinks that the wolves howling outside are talking to him. And then Van Helsing has a thing of wolfsbane. He holds it up in front of
Yeah.
Renfield, and Renfield is like, yeah, and winces dramatically
Yeah.
away.
Allergies.
And when I actually looked up wolfsbane, because I mean, I've heard that in a lot of different um iterations, usually in some sort of like thing, like I said, regarding werewolves. But also you'll see it in like witchcraft sort of stuff, as an ingredient, um, in spells or potions or whatever. Um, but wolfsbane is slightly poisonous herb, and also called acolyte.
You can
Hmm.
call him ass
Anyway,
wipe.
Asswipe.
you bitch.
Some ass wipe for your butthole.
You Dracula. Um, but yeah, it was mainly referenced to this movie to be
Oh,
associated with vampires. I haven't really seen it too much with like even in like the newer stuff like Vampire Diaries, they'll use wolfsbane, but against werewolves. So
Yes.
oh, okay.
I just thought that was an interesting note.
Well, Dracula comes into Mina's room later that night,
Mhm.
and the next day, Mina is recounting to Harker and Seward and Van Helsing about she had this dream of a room filled with mist and the sounds of dogs howling. I saw two red eyes staring at me. It's great. It's really nice. It's really cool. I love this setup
Sexy.
here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then a white face just getting closer and closer.
Hmm.
And then I woke up and everything was fine. They're like,
And
She's like, I just can't get it out of my head.
I know, I just can't
It's like,
stop thinking about it. I'm so tired today. This is
Van
when Van Helsing's
Helsing.
like, yeah,
Oh,
he's like, so with that face, those eyes, you remember, they sort of leaned in. Where did they go? And she's like, maybe to this neck area. They're like, can I see? No, 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 don't
that
look, don't look. Oh, no,
don't
no,
look under
nope,
my draped scarf.
uh-huh.
no. My pink chiffon scarf? Absolutely not. That's a lady's private area.
And then when he pulled it off, she got all like fainty. She was
Yeah.
like, ah. And I was like, oh damn. Like just because it was exposed, like you were all perked up before and now you're ready to pass out. Oh, I see.
I think that's the thing about like the Dracula story and vampires in general is that they work
Mm,
so much better pre 1920s,
Hmm.
in which there is so much like I feel faint can be a common symptom of so many things.
mhm.
And the mystery of I don't know, let's just let her convalesce in her room, or let's just lock, like in which we would just kind of like sequester people away and be like, I don't know, let's figure it out. Or like just put women in rooms and be like, I don't know, we'll just let her calm down
She's
and she'll
hysterical.
she'll be fine in a few days, and then oh my god, she ends up dead and turn comes back as a vampire. Like I don't know, modern vampires clearly can work in certain settings, but I think the classic gothic vampire, it does kind of need that like medicine hasn't quite caught up to
Yeah.
modern
Hmm.
to really feel that.
That's true. That's true because I mean, you can't just like these days that would not work in the same way. So I assume that vampires, if they're real, if you're out there, give me a call. Um,
Follow us on Instagram.
wink. Um, Nowadays they would have had to adapt to the times, right?
Yeah.
So either biting people in less conspicuous places that they're going to be shown,
Hmm.
Blood banks
or blood
going straight.
banks, exactly.
Like, do you remember the Night Watch, that movie we want, the
Oh
the
yeah.
Russian
Yeah.
movie? But they're like, I don't know, you get a dealer who works at a blood bank and he hooks you up every month and
Hmm.
fly under the radar.
They throw most of that
Right.
shit out anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Bad
gonna go
bad
bad.
blood.
Uh,
How long does blood take to go bad, do you think? A couple
oh,
weeks?
I
I don't
never
know.
check the sell by date on those
I
things.
know.
So,
That's why I drink it right from the source.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
see, that's what I'm saying. You got to get fresh blood.
Fresh. Farmer's market, farm to table.
Yeah, I bet you could find a ton of people. There's a ton of people out there, fang bangers, who'd be down for who'd be down for just, Like, yeah, I'll give you some blood. Let's hang out.
Well, as they're discovering the bite marks on her throat, Jonathan Harker says, "What could have caused them, Professor?" And then we hear the maid just go, "Count Dracula."
I love this so
Such
much.
a
That
I
was
good
so
line.
good.
laughed so loud.
And there's Count Dracula just standing in the foyer, being like, "What's up?"
Is this a bad time?
Uh, uh,
It's
uh.
11:30 at night. May I
Totally
come
normal
in?
to visit your neighbors.
I,
Just here for a chat. I was strolling by.
would you
I've
like to
been
come?
telling your very pretty young daughter and girlfriend tales of my homeland while no one
When were
else
you
was
doing that?
around.
Right. When were you doing that?
I know,
Like,
right? And
when have
that's
you had the time?
like I'm more mad at Dr. Stewart and John Harker in this movie than I am at Dracula, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, I was relating tales of my homeland. Perhaps she was scared. I was like, wait, and
Why?
y'all are okay with this?
Why are you doing that to her? Well,
When were you alone with her?
Right. Telling
What?
her scary stories or whatever.
well,
Creep.
well, this is when Van Helsing notices in the little mirror of this, like,
This is
like
great.
lockbox thing, sees the mirror on the underside of this box. In it, there's no reflection of Dracula.
Oh no.
Yeah. Love
Proof.
this little movie magic of them shooting
Uh-huh.
the scene. Just Bela Lugosi's not there
Yeah,
or
I know,
Yes.
right?
whatever.
They're just
And
looking
it's
at a
like,
spot.
and
Yeah.
she's just standing right. Yeah. They're like, look at this spot. And she's just turned like 3/4.
Uh-huh.
Like it's just like standing there. She's not even like reacting. She's just like standing there.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then the dad is right there. And, and I love that they keep going back to the thing to be like, oh, now see, he's still not there.
He's
Now the
still not
dad
there.
is there.
And literally, like, Van Helsing like nudges Jonathan Harker, and he's like, "Hey, look at
Harker,
this
that
shit."
fucking
Jonathan Harker
idiot.
sees it, and then even still, he's like, "I don't know. That seems like we should. I don't know what that is."
Parker sucks. This character in this movie
He
is terrible.
sucks.
Yeah.
But they end up sending Mina away to her bedroom
I'm like, why are
because
you leaving her alone?
Well,
they're
they
like,
did leave the maid with very explicit instructions.
Yes. Yes, Nurse
She
Briggs
has to
has
wear
to.
these flowers,
Yep.
and she has to lock the doors.
Yes.
no, this is even
And the
before
windows.
before that. Before that, like he's like, well, go lay down, and then he
Oh, that's
comes
right.
into Dracula comes in the room, and he's like, you know what? Here's something funny, and like opens the box like at him
Oh,
with
yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
mirror,
yeah.
Oh,
and
and
Bela Lugosi is like smacks it out of
he
his hand.
slaps it to the
He's like-
floor.
Smoking kills.
And he's like, ugh.
Smoking
And-
causes cancer.
Harker and Seward don't say a word,
No.
bro. They
No.
never even like give a shit about it afterwards. I'm like, yo, why would any normal person slap away a box that's all it's got in it is like a mirror?
Mhm.
I'm
And then
very
his
anti-tobacco. Big
his
tobacco
explanation
killed
is
my family.
he doesn't like mirrors. What?
Yeah, I know. That's his.
That's not
I've
weird.
never been a fan of mirrors. You're like, tell me more, Count Dracula. New
Elaborate,
neighbor, Count
please.
Dracula.
I've never, and then he's like, I've never been a fan of mirrors, and then just fucking leaves, bro,
Mhm.
like off the
And then leaves
terrace.
through the
He doesn't
back
even.
door.
That's
Leaves
what I'm
through the
saying.
back door. And then turns into a wolf.
Yeah, and
He's
runs
like,
away.
Whatever.
Well, and
They're like, oh well.
Harker and Seward are still like, Seward is a little bit like, I'm not sure what I'm seeing. I'd like to
Yeah.
know more. And Harker's like, none of this is happening. And Van
Yes.
Helsing says, listen, the strength of the vampire is
Yes.
that people will not believe in him. Like the
Yeah.
strength of the vampire is that it is so ludicrous that people like you, Harker,
Yeah.
will be like, no, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Like,
He's
you
just a
literally
little
don't
weird.
even believe your own eyes.
Yeah. Well, that night,
Uh,
Mina gets drawn out by the hypnotoad Dracula.
What?
That? And
This is classic, though.
yeah,
This is
let's
where
meet
he like
up
sucks
Prospect
her up
Park.
in his cape, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
And Yeah, it's just kind of like a silent scene where she comes close to him and he pulls his cape up over her.
Necking, as we would call it.
Necking. Necking.
Again.
Eh.
uh, and then the maid comes running in screaming to the parlor where all the boys are chatting. And she's like, Miss
Yeah.
Mina is out there. She's like, she's out there dead. She's not. Just everyone chill.
Jesus
She is
Christ.
not dead.
She's out there dead.
She's dead. And then they all run, and the maid faints, and then fucking Renfield
Field just
is
shows
like,
up and starts laughing.
Yeah, and they starts creeping towards her like an axolotl.
I would absolutely date him.
Also, he like when she faints, okay, they go out. It was like 30 to 45 seconds. She was trying to
No.
chew that scenery.
Oh,
She
yeah,
like
she was.
turned and she was like dead-eyed at first, and then she was like, faint. I was like glad she got down to the ground finally. I was like, damn girl, this is like your one scene.
She's so good. Well,
But yeah.
the next day we've got Martin, Eliza Doolittle's dad, reading news accounts in the paper about a woman in white attacking children on the streets. So this is where Van Helsing is like, hey, Mina, you said you saw Lucy recently, like after she died? Sure did.
Yes. Oh, that was so strange. I saw her in the middle of the night, and she looked so strange, so pale. She looked so hungry. And then she just ran away, and I thought nothing of it. But then I remembered she was dead. And I thought how odd she was dead and still walking around. But I thought nothing of it. How odd, how strange. Ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha ha ha.
These characters are like AI. Like they're
Yes.
like, what is human emotion?
How strange,
Fully.
how odd, how bizarre, how bizarre.
I saw her and I said, Lucy, how do you do?
How do you do,
How do you do?
Ashley?
Ashley.
Uh, so
Sometimes I can't remember.
so Mina is now in visiting with Van Helsing. Harker's there, and she's like, John, Harker, Johnny boy, listen, you can't touch me or kiss me ever again because of my condition.
I know.
I love
Yeah.
you, but it's just so sad, right? But we can't be together anymore because of how I am.
What a
The
weird.
doctor will explain it all to you.
I've got to go.
And this is really kind of interesting because it's never really explicit whether she means like if it's a medical condition
Mm-mm.
or if it's that she's fucked Count Dracula.
Right.
Right.
Like she's a fallen woman.
Yeah, so she knows something about. So Van Helsing is at least aware in telling her this that something about her has changed and there's something contagious about the vampire, perhaps. So maybe just a little relationship quarantine. You know, you can still kiss through a mask, I suppose. Sort of thing.
No, she said, we're over. You should go.
Yeah.
She said, you should go. And he does not take no for an answer. He's like,
No.
I'm taking you back to London.
I
Or I'm
know.
calling the cops. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
I was like,
I'm gonna put you on a boat to France.
I'm like,
Mhm.
isn't she with her dad? Like,
Yeah. You two
she's
aren't even
fine.
married.
Right. She's like your girlfriend. Like you are. I don't even think they were affianced.
I don't see
Right?
They,
a
they
ring on
did
this
say
finger.
they did say fiance.
Did they
Okay,
say
okay.
fiance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. People
Well-
break engagements all the time.
Sure.
Well, he does not win this argument because Van Helsing sends Mina to bed and gives Nurse Briggs the instructions to
That's it.
Mm.
There you
make
go.
sure she does not take the wolfsbane off of her neck, make sure that her windows and doors remain closed.
Which lasts all of 35 seconds.
Yes, because we get a reaction shot from Dracula being like zapping her mind.
And then she
Cheddar
comes.
biscuits.
I swear she was. I swear she was in a different outfit when she got sent to bed.
Hmm.
And then she comes out ready to do the friggin' Watusi.
Oh,
She's like in
I
that
mean, I
sateen
listen,
dress, and she's like, "Hey, I feel great."
evil Mina, I'm here for.
Slaps.
She's
Yeah,
great.
Vampire Mina absolutely stole the show.
Yes.
yeah.
I
Regular
wanted
Mina,
more of
annoying.
Regular
this.
Mina, nah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But Vampire Mina, she is something to behold.
Yeah.
She's rooting and tooting. She's ready
Yeah.
to to go out on the town or whatever. She's like, "Oh, I just feel so good the night. Like, I love the night. Come out here, sit on the bench with me."
It's like,
And he's
girl,
like swatting.
you literally just said you're afraid of the nighttime. I would never say anything like that. Come on over here. I know. And yeah, meanwhile, Jonathan Harker's like jumping up on the furniture with a broom trying to kill a bat.
And she's clearly having a conversation with the bat or
With the
something.
bat.
Yes, I will. I promise.
He's like, "What are you talking
Okay.
about?"
Talking to
No one.
And she's like,
nothing.
"Nothing."
He's like,
See,
what?
another.
Nothing
He's a
what?
dummy.
yeah.
Huh?
She's also like, she says, what has that professor been doing to me, John? He's been
I know.
locking me in my room and covering me in that odorous weed. And also, he carries this cross around and I don't like it. Will you get that away from him?
Steal it from him. Sneak it away from him. Just for me, won't you?
Hide it so he can't get it again. I was like, "Damn, okay, that's weird." Now that's weird. It's one
Right?
thing to be like, "I don't like these weird weeds on me." Like, okay, I
Sure.
could see that.
Yeah.
But like, what does him having a cross like in his pocket
Yeah.
have to do
And
with like
you want
anything?
me to steal it from this old professor dude and
Also,
like
how did you
throw it
know
out the
that?
window? Yeah. Why does that bother you? And why is this a big concern of yours?
When did you see that? When did you see him with a cross?
And when did you do your hair and put on your going to the opera outfit? And
Literally.
why are you looking at me like you literally want to eat me?
I can't do it. I have too much Botox, but like I
I'm so
her
happy.
eyes.
I am so happy right now.
Oh, it's so good. And
Yeah,
she gets that light action across her eyes like Dracula
yeah.
gets as she like leans into John Harker. And it's Van Helsing and Seward show up, and Van Helsing's like, "Oh no, I got to stop this." He whips out that cross and puts it right in her face. She freaks out, and Van Helsing is like, "How dare you do that to my not psychotic, not
Parker
vampiric
is
girl?"
right.
You're not at all weirded out by the fact that your girlfriend is now like violently upset at just witnessing a crucifix.
No.
And then he
The
yanks
same girl who was like, "Please don't look at my neck." No, like 24 hours earlier.
right. And once he wrestles the thing away from him, he goes over and he's like, "Oh, are you okay now? Are you okay?" And then she sees that he has the cross and she freaks out again. I'd be like, "Oh, that's actually weird.
Uh-huh.
That's actually weird." I don't know.
But
There's
I can
not a
fix
lot
her.
of thinking it through in
I can
this.
fix her, my little lady.
Yeah.
Well, she admits finally in this moment that like Van Helsing is totally correct, that Dracula made her drink his blood. So like their blood
Oh.
has mixed together. So this is part of the you become a vampire, meaning you'll be my forever wife. One of many to live with me in the plastic spider dungeon.
Big love. Big love
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, we've got really cute armadillos though. So later that night, Mina's sleeping with she's got the wolfsbane on, but Dracula hypnotizes her, has her remove the wolfsbane and escape with her. This is at the same time that Renfield escapes for like the 15th time
Oh my God.
in this movie.
Shaking my head.
They never explain how.
No, there's
Like,
one
no.
point. Yeah, there's one point where they're like, Seward's like, "Actually, Martin, let me show you where to put him that will be the most secure spot." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "What, in like a room that's made of paper bags?" Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
Well,
also,
didn't he say when that crazy guy when the Eliza Doolittle's dad came in the like last time, he's like, oh, we bent up the
Yes.
something like it was
Yes.
cheese or
Yeah.
something. I was
Yeah,
like, what
like
the
he's
hell
like
does that
literally
mean,
now he's
first of
like
all?
yeah, like he's bending the bars to get out. So he
Yeah.
does have some weird superhuman strength. Or Dracula just went "Brrrt," and just
Yeah.
let him out.
I sort of presumed it was Dracula letting him out. But Renfield he hears that Dracula is running back to Carfax Abbey and he's got Mina with him. And so Renfield runs to Carfax Abbey to follow his master and his new bride. But Van Helsing and Harker see Renfield escaping and are like, all right, some shit's going down here.
Follow this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they follow him to the castle, and it's Dracula sees Renfield and then sees the two other dudes and was like, you betrayed me. And fucking chokes him out and chucks him down some stairs.
I know.
Can we
Sad.
talk about how those stairs, for as grand as they are, need a goddamn belt, like a banister?
You need a-
Like
they
that's
probably do.
unsafe. That's fully
Unsafe.
unsafe.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Like-
this is the Abbey that you bought.
Yeah, it's on the punch list, Symphony. Like we're gonna give that to the we're gonna give
It's-
that list to the contractor.
Contractor.
Yeah.
Mhm,
It's
mhm.
not, because he even told them at the opera or the symphony, he was like, no, I'm not gonna fix it up or anything.
I'm not gonna fix anything.
Right. And
I
that's
like
when
things to be
creepo-
old and dangerous.
yeah, that's when creepo goth Lucy was like, oh, I think that's totally awesome. Keep it like super derelict.
We'll have a rave in there or something.
Yeah, we love stuff that's like old and crusty and broken.
Uh-huh.
But they're on this staircase, and bro, it is a very like the scene is beautiful. I like the shot
yeah.
of it. Like he's up above her, she's walking down, and he's coming up. It's very like iconic, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, please, master, please. And he comes out, he's like, and I'm gonna slap a bitch. And he fucking rolls down the stairs. I was like, there was no stuntman for that
Mhm.
guy. He rolled his ass down those stairs. I know that hurt. And then he just flopped off the side.
This
Mm.
is great.
Sorry, Renfield.
Sorry, dude. Well,
Yeah.
Van Helsing and Harker chase after Dracula and Mina. Dracula like runs down into the swampy cellars of this Abbey estate and immediately just goes to sleep.
Yeah, here's the
Yeah.
thing. This movie, I was shocked at how anticlimactic it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we get to the crypt, and then it's like, yeah, Dracula lays down for a second. Mina's just sort of in a corner. Jonathan and Van Helsing get separated. Van Helsing finds Dracula. Dracula gets stabbed off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also daylight. The end?
He busts up the roof of the lid of the coffin, because he
Right.
was like sent Harker to get something like a rock or something
Okay.
to like drive the stake into his heart, which that is the main lore that we know, of
Yeah,
course,
right.
of like how to kill a vampire. And yeah, he does get killed off, but like Jonathan runs back to give him the little piece of metal or whatever, like basically a crowbar to like bang this into this guy's chest, and you just hear, "Argh!"
Yeah.
And also, like, Harker is behaving like I've brought my cat with me to help out. He is just running everywhere. Like, he cannot focus on
Yes.
anything. He's like, where's Mina? Mina! He's and
Yeah.
Van Helsing
Screaming
is
through
so
the window.
patient.
Yeah.
God
When
almighty.
he's screaming through the window, I was like, shut up. Like, shut up. You're ruining this whole thing.
You're ruining the
Like-
vibe.
Yeah.
You're ruining it. Well, because like you're like letting them know that you're friggin' there.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want some surprise that you can like sneak up on them and like maybe actually get Mina back? Because right now, what you're doing, not good.
Yeah, because we
But
don't,
yes.
I mean, very clearly, Dracula and the wives do not wake up from shouting. Like, their slumber is like unconsciousness. Like, they are
Yeah.
in a
Mhm.
different dimension until sunset. But we don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, these people sleep in coffins. Just be fucking quiet. why?
Yeah.
Let's go
Sneak
make.
up on him.
We're gonna find Mina. We got to kill this motherfucker first.
I know. Because if
Right.
we don't kill him, then Mina's a vampire. And
Yeah.
Mina
Right.
might kill us.
And also, right now, either Mina is alive or she's dead. But if we go find her and we lose track of him, she's still at risk.
Yeah.
If we kill him, then we either find her alive or dead. Like there's just all good options happen if we kill him first.
Yeah.
Yes. And I thought it was interesting when they were initially at the coffins and like Van Helsing opened the coffin, sees Bela Lugosi,
Mhm.
he closes it. Then he opens the other one, looks at it, closes it, and then he's like, okay, go get me a thing. And then when he comes back, he's like, oh, she's not in this one, in this other coffin. You could have said that the first time. You
Uh-huh.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever. But then when he stabs him, when he, you know, stakes him, Mina must feel it
Yes. She's
because
like,
she
oh, my
starts
heart.
grabbing at her breast
Hmm.
and was but like we don't even get an indication that she's gonna be fine after that, but I assume because the vampire is dead
She
that
seems like a
she,
weight has been lifted.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's heavily implied from the way she reacts and what Van Helsing kind of vaguely says that she's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And
She's been
Van
unvampired.
and Van Helsing, I
Right.
do like the implication here at the end because Van Helsing is still holding the stake, and he tells the two of them, he's like, "Look, you guys go on your way. I'm going to stay behind here for a second." He doesn't say why, but I'm like, "Oh, he's vampire hunting.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
He's gonna exterminate the rest. Is what's going to happen." But I'm with you, Cecil. Like it's so anticlimactic. I'm like, what?
Hmm.
What? I think about like when we watched The Lost Boys, right? Like when they
Yeah.
stab one of them in the cave and it wakes all of the others up and it
Yeah.
causes
Yeah.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
uproar. I'm like, where are these cool ass wives he has? Like, I want to see
Oh,
them
they're back in
modern dance fight
Transylvania.
him. Do they not come with him? They didn't
No.
They
come. Oh.
no,
No, they're
you only
like I
see
said,
them
they're
in the
watching the
beginning.
armadillos and the North American possums
I
back
just
in
presumed they were
Romania.
in some other crates. Never mind. Forget I
He's
said that.
no, he's
He's
making
making
new
new wives in
wives.
England. Yeah.
Oh,
He's
great.
making English wives because he's polygamist.
Sure. There we go. So I don't know what Van Helsing was sticking around to do. I have no idea.
I think he might have been going to chop his head off because
Okay.
that's
Oh,
another
okay.
or getting Lucy because Lucy was probably down there.
Yeah, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
I thought about that as well. It's like Lucy is the kind of the loose end because they're like the woman in white is still eating
Right.
babies
Yeah.
somewhere in the
She's
vicinity.
probably in there. Similar to the way the wives were in the initial one. They weren't like
Mhm.
all the coffins weren't next to each other. Like some of them were like off in a
Hmm.
different thing. He was probably just gonna make sure there wasn't any more of this nest or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, the end. The end. Everyone lives happily ever after. Shall we rate this movie, y'all?
Why not?
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with rating this movie for approachability. If you're horror squeamish, how approachable is this film? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not at all approachable, 10 being easily approachable. Listen, I'm just going to give Dracula 10 fat, juicy spiders out of 10. Like, it's so like, it's generally spooky, but
Mhm.
it's also like so old school classic Hollywood. It's like theater spooky. Like, I think when we covered the stage musical version of Sweeney Todd for this show, like just the filming of the stage version. Like I found that scarier than this. I think this is very approachable. I think this is such an easy movie. General spookiness. It's a little campy because a lot of it, as we were saying at the end, doesn't connect. It just kind of is kind of going through some of the beats of the original script. But I think it's more about like the style that it created for
Mhm.
all of 20th century Halloween spoopiness than anything. So 10 out of 10, very approachable. Cecil, to speak nothing of approachability, how do you rate this as a horror film?
As a horror film, this is the kind of the godfather of all of all vampire movies. I think Nosferatu is the
Mhm.
godfather of vampire movies. This one is super good though. It's a lot of fun. It did kind of whet my appetite to make me want to go back and watch the Bram Stoker version because this is
Mhm.
like the Cliff Notes version of Dracula, you know?
Yes.
Like it really
Mhm.
does take out so much. But Bela Lugosi's fucking classic in this. He literally doesn't blink throughout the entire movie, and it's a lot of fun to
Wow.
watch. So for that reason, 8 out of 10. Um, um, marks on your neck.
Perfect. Symphony, would you like to rate this for anything? Like rate this as a vampire movie?
Yeah. I think as a vampire movie, I think it is an essential watch for just what we know historically in the lore of vampirism. Plus, I mean, it's just such an iconic version. Is it gonna scare your little tickets off? No way, Jose.
Mm-mm.
But um, as far as vampire movies go, if you love the vampires, this is your opportunity to watch what all that is based on, and how far we've come, right? So I'm going to give this 9 out of 10 fangless vampires.
Nice. Well, let's figure out what movie we're going to watch next, Cecil. So, I will start by saying I am not in my normal office space today, so I do not have my die with me. So, Cecil, you're going to do double duty. You've got a die that's going to get rolled
It said
twice, once for a scare, once for
duty.
a style duty. So, Cecil, when you roll the first die roll, that's going to be our scare. If you roll a one, our next movie scare has to be an animal, two, a contagion, three, wild card, four, alien, five, something demonic, or six, a psycho killer.
That's a 5.
We're going to get a demonic scare. Okay, so we're going to match up what you just rolled as a demonic scare with the style that you roll. So if you roll a one, our next movie style has to be based on a book. Two, a one-word title. Three, foreign language film. Four, a television show where we'll watch the first three episodes. Five, something from the 2000s. Or six, a splatter film. What is our demonic movie style?
That's a 4.
We're going to watch first three episodes of a demonic
Oh, wow.
TV
Okay.
show.
Demonic TV show.
Okay, so we just put
Huh.
that on the list too. So we put a few down that we thought would match up these two elements. And also we have a Letterboxd account, Random Horror 9 on Letterboxd. So you can go follow our lists over there and add comments to tell us what, what TV shows or movies would fit the matchup. So let's go over the ones we have on our list, Cecil. Let's see. There's these are a couple of recent ones. Evil.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say that.
That seems pretty
Okay.
demonic.
Have you seen
Yeah,
this show, Symphony?
I've
I've watched
watched.
all of it.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
really? And I've only watched like the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's like 4 seasons, 3 seasons.
I
Okay.
think like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just ended. It's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another one is Hellbound.
I've never heard of this.
Now let's see if I can tell you something about this because none of these shows I'm super familiar with, but found them just searching for things. It looks like it ran for 2 seasons starting in 2021. This is let's see here.
Is this a
Made this show.
Korean? Am I looking at the right TV show?
Yep, this is a Korean television show. It ran on Netflix or is on Netflix. Synopsis: unearthly beings deliver bloody condemnations, sending individuals to hell and giving rise to a religious group founded on the idea of divine justice.
Yikes.
Yoinks.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds fun. Those people sound delightful. Also, there's an Exorcist television program.
Yeah, I
Sort of
wondered about this. I put this on here. I was like, I know that there was an Exorcist TV show. I'm
Sure.
kind of curious about the quality and where they went with the Exorcist story.
Mm-hmm.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
You also threw down Supernatural, put a little question mark next to it.
I've never seen a
Yes.
single minute of Supernatural.
No.
I'm pretty
14
sure that-
seasons. boys.
There's demons on it, right?
Are there
Sam and
demons?
Dean, you guys. Oh, you've never seen
I've
Supernatural?
never
Nope.
seen like more. I've
They're
not
demon
seen more than
hunters.
5 minutes.
Oh, they're demon
Oh,
hunters?
it's yeah. I mean,
Oh,
they're monster hunters, but like a lot of the things that they deal with are demons and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and it's prolific. There's like 14
Oh my God.
seasons, I believe.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I mean, 14 seasons of brotherly love.
Okay.
It's so
Uh-huh.
so good, and the fandom is vast.
Okay.
So,
Great. Okay, good to know. We've also got Sandman.
Yeah. I mean,
Sure.
oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure that Sandman gets to hell by episode 3, but I couldn't quite remember. I know that's
Yeah.
part of the Sandman lore. Yeah, I thought I'd throw that one out there.
We've also got Preacher.
I don't know if you do you know Preacher at all?
Preacher. Yes, I've seen that
Uh,
show too.
I love Preacher. I mean, I love the graphic novel, was one of my favorites. And so when they made a TV show out of it, it's about this preacher who gets uh gifted, cursed with the word of God. So whatever he can like say things and it just becomes God's truth. There are
Great.
some sort of demonic elements to it, but it's not the like not guaranteed. So that's a question mark if you're going to run into demons in the first 3 episodes on that one.
Okay. And also there's The Stand.
Classic.
Demonic?
But you don't really get to the demons until the later part of the stand.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Right.
Um, let's check out what people on Letterboxd have to say, Cecil. I'll throw out the first one from Monstrum, which is Demon Slayer 2019. Symphony, do you know this show?
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer. No, I don't know that one.
Monstrum says after a demon murders his family and leaves his surviving sister a feral demon, Tanjiro seeks a way to save her and discover why this happened. All right.
This
Okay.
is some anime. We got some anime up in here.
Okay, great.
Stingray 963 recommends Ash versus the Evil Dead,
Okay.
provided you count Deadites as demons,
Sure.
which you would arguably strongly for. I agree.
Very demonic.
with
Yeah.
Stingray. Acts is a sequel to the original Evil Dead trilogy, taking place 30 years after Army of Darkness. Super fun, splattery. Always awesome to see Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
King and Commenter recommends Devilman Crybaby 2018. What is this? Akira's best friend tells him that ancient demons have returned to take back the world from humans and suggests that he unite with a demon.
Okay.
Sounds like more anime to me.
Sure. Oh, Jacob Chipman. Oh, yeah. He throws out Marianne, which is a show I've seen the first 3 episodes of.
I've not seen this one.
Very fucking spooky. Yeah, demonic. Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect sense. Scary as shit.
Let's see. Weaponized Toaster, Ash versus the Evil Dead, Winona Earp from 2016.
Yeah. No.
I've never heard of this. Winona Earp has been taken away from her hometown, Purgatory, for years, but returns to reluctantly take on the role that Wyatt Earp's heir is destined for, i.e., Demon Protector,
Sure.
naturally.
Classic
And
Wyatt Earp story.
Good Omens, the
Oh.
Neil Gaiman,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Terry Pratchett, but says, is it horror? Question mark. Not really. But
Right.
it's a fun suggestion, I think.
Mhm. We've also got a seconding of Supernatural
Mhm.
from Atomic Baz, and also does that say Temmie Silver gives us Folklore 2018,
I
which
don't
is
know
on
this
Max.
one.
Do y'all know this show?
No.
Mm-mm.
Each episode focuses on a new story in a different Asian country, centering around a supernatural monster from each culture, and many of those
Hmm.
monsters seem quite demonic or demon-like. That's
Ooh.
interesting. I should
Okay.
check this show out.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Let's see what else we got here. Mary Golo recommends The Terror. The Terror, I don't know. The Terror demonic. I would question that one for sure. I've
Uh-huh.
seen first season and the second one. That's a maybe.
Yeah.
Ganymede's Cup recommends Warrior Nun from 2020 and 2022, a Buffy-esque series. Waking up in a morgue, an orphan teen discovers she now possesses superhuman powers. It does sound very Buffy-esque.
Mm-hmm.
As the chosen halo bearer for a secret sect of demon hunting nuns. Naturally.
Awesome. Azure Apocalypse gives us The Promised Neverland 2019. Don't want to spoil too many episodes, but there's definitely a demonic aspect to it.
Okay.
Gifted kids at an isolated, idyllic orphanage discover the secret and sinister purpose they were raised for. All right.
All right. And Azure Apocalypse also second Supernatural. Ganymede's Cup recommends Sleepy Hollow, the TV
Okay.
series. Ichabod Crane is resurrected and pulled 2.5 centuries through time to unravel a mystery that dates all the way back to the founding fathers.
Wow.
Sort of the headless horseman is death as the horseman of the apocalypse, witchiness, devilry, demons, etc.
Yeah.
The guy that plays the main character in that show is also in Supernatural as a demon, as a cross as
Uh-oh.
a crossroads demon.
Okay.
Spoilers.
See you at the crossroads.
So you won't be lonely. Has
Megan,
anybody suggested Constantine?
no. I
No.
don't see Constantine on here.
Because
Is
there
there a
was a
TV?
show.
Was there a TV
Yeah,
show
there's
of
a t
Constantine?
there's like only like one season, I think.
Whoa. Oh.
I'm pulling that up now. Constantine 2014. Oh, yeah, I do remember these posters for this show. Yeah, it only did one season.
Okay. Okay.
All right, that's interesting. Megan Borish also throws at Marianne.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great, really good and creepy and shit.
Let's see. Fifth Hammer seconds The Exorcist and also recommends Outcast from 2016. Kyle Barnes has been plagued by possession since he was a child. Oh dear. They make a pill for that, I'm sure. Now, as an adult, he embarks on a spiritual journey to find answers, but what he uncovers could mean the end of life on Earth as we know it. Sucks.
Great. And then Carolyn Kahn, second Supernatural, and Bubble Gumlich, second Sandman and Supernatural, both.
Yeah.
A lot of support for those. Symphony, do you have any suggestions you would like to add?
A couple of shows. Okay, these are just like not scary, but the demons are involved in these shows. One is Midnight Texas. It had a short run, I think like 3 seasons or something like that. It, if you take out people trying to do accents,
This looks
it's
so sexy.
it
Like
can be
the
sexy.
poster, like the main poster is just people like lying on like a red
like
velvet background, just like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
it's basically about a guy who can see like ghosts and stuff, but like and
Francois
he ends up
Arnaud.
in a town with other people who like one is a witch, one is like an
Oh.
angel, but he's in love with a demon and things happen in this town because it's like kind of
Ooh.
like a portal to hell crossroads sort of situation.
Oh no.
And then of course I know this also crosses over into Witch a little bit, but Charmed, they're always fighting demons.
Oh
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
true,
aren't
true,
they?
true, true. And the scare is demonic, so it kind of leaves it a
Yes.
little bit broad.
Yeah.
Oh, those
Right?
are interesting. Um, what is standing out to you, Cecil?
I mean, oof. Here's the thing. I'm curious about the Exorcist TV show, but
Uh-huh.
we've been hitting the Exorcist series kind of hard. Like literally, I
Yeah.
think the last time we rolled demonic, we watched The Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like we can maybe put The Exorcist back on the shelf for a minute.
Yeah.
Um, Ash versus the Evil Dead is a lot of fun. I think
Mhm.
is a solid choice. I don't know how scary it is, but I am kind of curious about Supernatural.
Supernatural stood out to me the most in that it's just a show neither of us have seen. It ran for 14 fucking seasons, apparently.
14
So I feel like we
seasons.
should hit on that. The only, like, the main runner-up to me would be Marianne because it's legitimately scary as shit.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, is Supernatural actually scary though? Or
No.
is it like kind of like when I, look at something like Sleepy Hollow or Midnight Texas, which is kind of more in the like Gossip Girl, but with demons, kind
Mhm.
of,
CW.
like into that sort of
Yeah.
era, which listen, there's a place for that, versus something that is like more in the Exorcist Marianne kind of thing that is like, oh, this is going to be a scary TV show.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Marianne would probably be scarier, like of the things that if you're looking for more of a scare
Yeah.
than that. But like I would encourage you just maybe just on your own time to dive into the world of Sam and Dean, into Supernatural because it's pretty iconic, but it gives the same vibes as like a Charmed, an
Yeah.
episodic, like they battle like big bads and little
Yeah.
bads. There's generally like an overarching like big bad that they have to fight during the season, but they go on like little missions where people are like, "Oh, there's a disturbance in my house. I don't know what's happening," sort of thing, and they find like Wendigos and shit like that too.
Well, we're
But
taking
like,
it back to
yeah,
September 13th, 2005, if we go
Uh-huh.
back to the pilot episode.
Wow.
So
yeah,
that is 20 years
yeah.
ago. I don't know. Let's do it.
I think we should do
Our
that.
guest highly recommends it, and I'm always into whatever our guest recommends.
I
Yeah.
agree. Oh shit. So excited to finally get to see whatever this show is. All right. Well, thank you all for
Yes.
listening. Thank you, Cecil, for talking with me. And thank you, amazing guest, Symphony Sanders. Symphony, where can people find you and your work in this world?
Oh, you can find me anywhere you find the tubes that connect you to the internet.
Hmm.
I'm on TikTok, Instagram, even Facebook these days still. Um, and I guess Twitter X, but it's generally all at Symphony Sanders. So you just yell that into your internet tube, and I'll come a running.
If y'all have thoughts on Dracula or ideas for other movies that would have been, or TV shows that would have been good demonic horror TV shows, let us know on Instagram or Patreon at Random Horror 9. And that Patreon, we have public discussion threads of each episode, and you don't have to be a paying member to participate. And watch the first 3 episodes of season 1 of the TV show Supernatural from 2005 with us this week, and come on back next Tuesday for a new episode. Have a restful night with no bats driving your carriage or nothing. Boo.
Boo.
Oh.